Hello, everyone. This is another Black Conservative. I am Ryan Bowling. Thank you for joining me. Apparently, there is this rock group, and I'm going to give the name after I read the article, that is enraged at the Supreme Court Justice's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade and give it back to the hands of the state. Giving it back to the hands of the state is my additional statement on that. They're just mad that Roe v. Wade was overturned. And what they really, according to this article, they actually want to abort the Supreme Court. Now, I think I heard some of this rhetoric being spit out at some other far leftist news sources. But in other words, the whole idea of aborting the Supreme Court is we need to get rid of the Supreme Court. I find it interesting that the radical left, instead of them coming up with viable solutions, what do? Hey, let's get rid of the Supreme Court. When the decision is not in their favor, they want to get rid of or X out the Supreme Court. But I guarantee you, had the decision been in their favor, it wouldn't have been a problem. Come up with something sensible that's logical rather than let's get rid of the Supreme Court. They do this all the time. So let's get into this article. I'm just read a significant portion of the article. And I'm going to give you my commentary on this because it's ridiculous and it's crazy, but I'm not surprised because people are being conditioned. But I ain't going to give away too much of that. So let's get right into this. The article starts off with politically outspoken rock band Rage Against the Machine, RATM, blasted the recent SCOTUS decision on abortion during a weekend show, calling to, quote, abort the court while criticizing, quote, forced birth in a country with rampant gun violence, no universal health care, or guaranteed paid parental leave. All of that is taxpayer money, right? And where black birth givers experience higher maternal mortality than white birth givers. In other words, black women and white women. Bunch of nonsense. In Rage Against the Machine's first concert in 11 years, oh yeah, they got to find some way to come back, right? The politically charged Los Angeles rock band appeared at Wisconsin's Alpine Music Theater on Saturday as part of its public service announcement tour, which was initially postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In addition to provoking visuals, which included an El Paso police vehicle alight, border police officers hunting an individual, this is crazy now, refugees in a boat spotted by a helicopter, as well as an immigration and customs enforcement officer dummy being beaten. The band highlighted the issue of abortion following the recent Supreme Court decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Before I read any further about this is interesting because, I'm wondering if they was thinking, okay, is this going to make any money? I'm wondering how exactly this went around. I mean, is this going to make any money? How much money is this going to actually make? I'm wondering if they thought about this. Anyway, during the performance of Freedom, their final single from their self-titled 1994 album, the band displayed a message on a screen reading, quote, forced birth in a country with no universal health care and where the cost of giving birth is $4,000 to $15,000. Now, let me say this, any way to justify killing your baby, to justify doing it. Oh, it costs money to, it costs, you forcing these women to give birth, it costs money for them to give birth, and it costs so much money, and woo. So the best option is to abort them. Abort the baby. It's the best option. Let's go on. Abort the Supreme Court, RATM proclaimed via video message Saturday for their reunion tour kickoff. The message was followed by another decrying alleged economic hardships for parents in America. Forced birth in a country that is the only wealthy country in the world without any guaranteed paid parental leave at the national level. Oh, that's just detrimental. This is my quote. This is my word. Oh, that's just detrimental. That's the worst thing. Oh my God. Oh, we're not like the socialist countries over there that even though they may have paid parental leave at the national level, their health service is some of the worst in the world. You got to wait 1,000 years to get any kind of health service. Oh yeah. Okay, man, come on. The next caption highlighted the alleged racial impact of abortion restrictions. It says, forced birth is in a country where black birth givers experience maternal mortality 2 to 3 times higher than that of white birth givers. Yeah, but what they don't tell you is that abortion among blacks is the highest rate among all the ethnic groups in the country, and may be the reason why the black race or the black ethnic group or whatever you want to call it is still at 13% and has been at 13% for 355,000 years. You know I'm being sarcastic, but you get my point. Gee, I wonder why. The following one pointed to gun violence apparently leaking the right to abortion and the likelihood of a child being a victim of such violence, the article goes on to say. And it says, forced birth in a country where gun violence is the #1 cause of death among children and teenagers. But let me say something about this. Even though, so basically you're saying, think about this. Forced birth in a country where gun violence is the #1 cause of death among children and teenagers. So the alternative is to abort the child so they won't have to deal with gun violence. Yeah, don't kill them before they're born first, so they won't get killed when they're born. Either way it go, you killing the child, dummy. The final message, I mean, if you decide to say, you know what, you need to abort the baby so you won't bring this baby into the world because the #1 cause of death among children and teenagers is gun violence. So to prevent that child being born in this world and having a risk of being shot, abort them. In other words, kill. The word abort means to terminate. Look it up. It's in the dictionary. It means to terminate. Terminate means to get rid of. Basically, to kill. That's what the movie Terminator was, wasn't it? The movie Terminator terminates you, get rid of you, exit you out. That's what abortion is, murder. So murder the baby before it's born so that it won't be born to take the risk of gun violence. But what if the baby is born and it doesn't get, and that child doesn't get shot, becomes a teacher or a lawyer or the next president? Okay, conservative president or sensible president. Yeah, mad to that. What if that happens? Well, you'll never know because you think the best alternative to them being born in a world where there's high gun violence among these children and teenagers is a problem. So we need to just abort them. We got to get rid of them. So they won't have to be born into this world to risk getting shot by a gun. Risk getting shot by a gun. Risk getting shot. So abort them. That's the next best alternative, right? Man, come on. These people are so full of anger and rage. They don't know what they're saying half the time. The final message called to, quote, abort the Supreme Court. Last month, the band said it was disgusted by Roe being overturned, and they pledged to donate $475,000 to abortion groups in Wisconsin and Illinois. Hooray, I'm happy for you. I'm not going to read what they said here. You can read it on your own free time. The alternative rock band is known for voicing its political ideology, both in his music and off stage. In 2018, RATM guitarist Tom Morello proposed the formation of a, quote, Children's Liberation Army. That sounds really crazy, right? Children's Liberation Army sounds like a radical far left group, communist group. That's what that sounds like. But anyway, made of disgruntled vets, quote, disgruntled vets to take on the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency. Sounds like the Chinese Red Guards when what's his name? Mila, I cannot pronounce that man's name. I'm not good at pronouncing names, but those of you who understand communist history, understand that communist dictator, when he created what was known as the Cultural Revolution to purge the Chinese culture of all of the, I forget the acronyms for it, but he wanted to purge them. He created a group of young people known as the Red Guards. These people were brutal. These young people were brutal. They would go around in the villages beating, assaulting, and murdering people. And I'm finna get graphic here. They would go around and they would step on the babies. Sorry I had to mention this, but I'm showing you this is kind of junk that these people are talking about. Would step on the baby's body, take his leg and rip the baby in half. That's what they did. But this is what you want. Children's Liberation Army, very bad, very bad. I don't think they know. But anyway, let me finish this up. Previously, Morello urged people to, quote, stand up against Donald Trump, referring to the former president as, quote, as a frat house rapist and warmongering rapist. The band's basis, Tim Comerford claimed anyone who voted for President Trump is as racist as the man himself. And he says anyone who voted for him is a racist. He's a racist. And as a racist who voted for a racist, you have an opportunity to make it right and admit that you made the wrong decision, he said. Really? Comerford, a self-described conspiracy theorist, had previously told Rolling Stone magazine he does not believe ISIS is real and NASA never landed on the moon, whatever. But it's interesting to me how he says you have a chance to make it right, you know, to make your decision right. You have that opportunity to make it right. Like he's the equalizer with Denzel Washington. Remember, he was like, you have an opportunity to make it right. Man, please, come on. Here's what I wanted to say here right up front. Look, what angers me is not what this group is doing here, wanting to cancel out the Supreme Court and abort the Supreme Court and all of this. That's not what angers me. What angers me is the mainstream media, the leftist mainstream media that pushes this rhetoric and pushes these terminology and words that are designed to incite rage and anger in the people, such as this group right here. Okay, if you pay attention to words, certain words and terms that the left creates, those words and terms are created for maximum impact. They're created not to get you to think. They're created to make you mad, to make you angry, to enrage you. What's going to happen, in my opinion, is that there is going to be an acts of violence that will surpass the 2020 riots. When election day come in the midterm elections in November, there's going to be riots. There's going to be riots. It is going to be brutal. I pray and hope that I'm wrong, but I'm predicting that this type of stuff that is being pushed by radical left individuals and radical left groups like this, it's going to be, they're pushing rage. They're pushing anger. They're not pushing logic and reason, because logic and reason causes people to think logically and reasonably. And when you think logically and reasonably, you come to the conclusion, wait a minute, acting like a crazy nutbag is not the answer to what's going on here. The left doesn't have any sensible solutions. They have to come at you with raised fists. They have to come at you angry and filled with rage and just wanting to just tear your head off like the red guards in communist China did. Huh? That's what they want. They wouldn't care if that happened, because they're being manipulated. They're being used as useful idiots for the liberal far radical left. The people at the top of the pyramid that are using them. They think they're doing the right thing, but they're being used. They're being manipulated. These words are designed to incite anger and frustration in disgruntled people who are already rather disgruntled, people who are already angry, people who are already frustrated at life, frustrated that they made bad decisions and now they're suffering the consequence of those bad decisions. And see these radical liberals who create these groups, they know that. And the people that they look for when they create these radical leftist groups, the people that they look for is not sensible thinking people. It's not educated people. And when I say educated, I'm not talking about getting an educating degree, because a lot of these degrees are far left brainwashing indoctrination centers anyway. I'm talking about people who read and study and analyze things and think sensibly. That's what I'm talking about. They don't look for people like that. They look for people that are disgruntled, angry, frustrated at the decisions that they made, and they're suffering the consequences of it, and they have to latch out to some. They have to express their anger towards somebody other than themselves. They have to come out as somebody else. They want to blame everybody else, but they don't want to take responsibility for themselves. They are the perfect candidates for these radical leftist liberation groups. They call themselves the Liberation Army or whatever. They're not the Liberation Army, in my opinion. They're the enslavement army. Okay? They're enslaved to their own passions. They're enslaved to their own emotions. They're enslaved to their own rage. And sooner or later, that rage is going to be used against people who comes against the bigger agenda that's being pushed by the radical left. That's what this is all about. That's what I wanted to say about that. That's a setup. And I'm just saying that people need to see the setup, man. People need to see the setup saying, well, Trump is a racist, whatever, and all this kind of stuff. And, oh, he's a frat house racist. Think about the term frat house racist. Think about how that makes people enraged, how that can make a person enraged with anger. He's a frat house racist. What the heck is a frat house racist? Where does that even come from? What is a frat house racist? Is that a new term? Is it an old term? What is that? You know, what is it? Those who voted for Trump, you have an opportunity to make it right. Opportunity to make it right. I think you have the opportunity to make it right when you voted for Biden. A lot of people who voted for Biden are coming out and saying, I messed up big time and I want to make it right. Even if they don't vote for Trump, they can vote for somebody that has sense and somebody who creates policies or promotes policies that's going to help all Americans. Low gas prices, better jobs, better opportunities, protecting the border, things that normal people want. The people that want all this crazy stuff is not the normal people. It's not the 9-to-5ers. It's these radicals in politics and these radical groups that want this, that are highly financed. They're the ones who want this. And they don't make up the majority. They are the minority. Sound like I'm preaching, but man, I'm passionate about this. Because I hate when dumb stuff like this is pushed out. I hate it. I hate it because I know what the objective is. It's to enrage people and get people to the point where they're disenfranchised people to the point where they're so mad they're ready to rip you apart. But what do you guys think about this group? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. God bless you all and see you again on another Black Conservative.